Hey folks, thanks for joining me on the Change Collective. I'm here with my good friend Matt. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about frontline supervisors, right? Direct managers. You've often heard the adage, people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses. So you can understand that this role has quite an important impact on an employee's satisfaction and engagement with a change. So Matt, what are some top tips that you have for direct supervisors during change?
Yeah, thanks for that, Frischka. It's important to note that supervisors, direct managers, people managers, however you want to call them, the people who are on the front line, dealing with the people who are going through the change, they're one of the critical roles. And you spoke about middle managers previously, but I just want to go into a little bit more detail. ProSci had this wonderful acronym. They have ADKAR, which we've covered off previously, but they had this other acronym called CLARK, and it goes through the roles of what those line managers or supervisors are required to do. So I'll go through each of those acronyms. The first one in Clark is C, obviously, communicator. So they're the ones that need to communicate the personal, direct impact of the change to the people. 70% of employees, when they were surveyed by ProSci, had effectively said, I go to my direct people manager to get that context, to understand what this change is really all about. So it's that people manager role in terms of communicating that personal message of change is very critical. The next one is the liaison, L for liaison. And that's really engaging and supporting the team, ensuring that they're not losing momentum. And if somebody's falling behind, giving that personal touch and being able to bring them on the journey, making sure that nobody is left behind effectively. The next one is the advocate. They're the ones that really powerfully drive and motivate people to do what the change is all about and talk, as a part of the communicator role, talk about the great impacts that this will be for our team. The next one in Clark is R, and that talks about resistance manager. So they're the ones that are looking out for who's resisting. What is the resistance that is out there? Because they're directly there. They're in amongst it. They're in the trenches. They're able to see, Joe over there, probably not really on board with what's going on. So I need to deal with that. I need to deal with that as soon as possible. Get onto it immediately. Don't let it fester. And the last one is C, and that's for coach. And that's really helping them through and understanding the change process. So falling back to the ADKAR that we've talked about before, awareness, desire, ability, knowledge, and reinforcement. Those activities, they really need to coach the individuals through that ADKAR approach. And that's where they take on that responsibility to ensure that everyone goes through the process as closely together, but gets through everything before the change actually happens. So there's my big tips. Clark from ProSci. How about yourself, Frischka?
Brilliant. To support them in their communication role, a strategy that I use is to actually to get every single manager or frontline supervisor involved is going to be impossible. So instead, I've used a small subsection of them to actually pilot change messages to see, does this make sense? How do you think your people will receive this? And so by getting them involved and getting them to own the messages, they're more likely to step up and fulfill their role as a communicator much more effectively. There you go, folks. The CLARK acronym related to frontline supervisors during change. Stay tuned for more tips from the Change Collective.